Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Red Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 1999 spy action film titled The World Is Not Enough. Now, The World Is Not Enough is the 19th edition to the James Bond franchise. It runs for 2 hours and 5 minutes long. It is directed by Michael Apted. It is produced by Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli. The script was written by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Bruce Fierstein. The story was written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. It is based off of the novel by Sir Ian Fleming. It was composed by David Arnold, the cinematography Adrian Biddle, and it was edited by Jim Clark. And the stars of the movie are Pierce Brosnan, Sophie Marceau, Robert Carlyle, Denise Richards, Robbie Coltrane, Judi Dench, Samantha Bond, Desmond Llewellyn, John Cleese, Maria Grazia Cucinotta, Michael Kitchen, Colin, Salmon, Serena Scott Thomas, Ulrich Thomsen, Goldie, John Seru, and Claude-Oliver Rudolph. Okay, this 19th edition to the Bond franchise truly lives up as the greatest Bond film there is, and that is not just a saying. It really does promise what it delivers and more. The action is exciting, the fight scenes are well choreographed, and the story is both original and inventive. For a legendary franchise that has been around since 1962, it's natural that there might be comparisons to the other Bond films, but it does hold out very well with plenty to enjoy, with few, if any, flaws. When it comes to performances, Pierce Brosnan displays greater confidence in his third outing as Bond. Almost like his predecessor, Sean Connery, Brosnan knew how to keep the action scenes running and showcase mannerisms that are at the same level as Connery. And when he delivers a one-liner, he knows the most effective way to really get it done is by keeping a straight face. His action scenes are also well executed and handled immaculately with grace and poignancy. A really big milestone was the send-off of Desmond Llewellyn, whose character Q was contemplating retirement. As a man behind the unorthodox but effective gadgets and gizmos, this would be his last appearance as Q. After appearing in all the Bond films, starting with 1963's From Russia with Love and ending it with The World Is Not Enough, with his only absence being Live and Let Die. He would die months later in a road accident at the age of 85, and the film pays a dedication to Llewellyn. Here he offers Bond some new inventions, and at the end of the movie he goes off in a very touching way. John Cleese would replace Llewellyn as the new Q, but here he's just R, and the gadgets are upgraded, looking more spectacular than ever before. We have an awesome BMW that comes equipped with titanium armor and 6 cup holders. Film and stage legend Judi Dench returns as M in her third outing, showing just how powerful she is as a majestic leader without trying to make her demeanor condescending. She does deliver her role with a serious and dedicated fashion, even when there is danger when the MI6 headquarters blows up. Of course, it wouldn't be a Bond movie without a few Bond girls to go along for the ride, and this time we have 2 main ones, one being good, the other being evil, but both show an upgrade that neither one are one-dimensional damsels in distress and can definitely hold out their performances through effectiveness and intelligence. Sophie Marceau is a great performer here as Electra King, whose father ran an oil industry, and she has possible links towards an oil pipeline that connects to the old Soviet oil fields. Of course, her father married into the oil industry. It was actually run by her mother. It was her mother's side of the family that ran the oil industry, and she is the heir to the industry. The other main Bond girl is an atomic scientist named Dr. Christmas Jones, played by Denise Richards, who has the capabilities of either saving or destroying the world. She got a lot of hate from the audiences, saying that she was the weakest Bond girl or that she was just unconvincing in her performances, but I tend to disagree. She actually does hold her own, and she does it quite effectively. The chase scenes here are some of the most exciting ones out there. From the powerboat scene on the River Thames, then on land and back in the drink, to the hot air balloon scenes with the parasailing snowmobile action scenes, the climactic ski chase scene down the slopes, to the scintillating scenes on the snowmobiles, and even an undersea adventure happens as Bond takes down a villain while in a submarine. It just doesn't get any better than this. Robert Carlyle is excellent as the leading villain, Renard, a terrorist whose mindset is to vow revenge on M for sentencing his death and to take over Electra's father's oil empire. It should also be known that he is a very formidable adversary due to a bullet lodged in his brain, so he can't feel any emotions, including physical pain, even though we all know that he is bound to die and a lot of his systems are malfunctioning. It seems that no matter how much pain you can inflict on him, he just does not feel any kind of physical pain. Another antagonist or semi-antagonist or frenemy is played by Robbie Coltrane, who plays Valentin Zukovsky, an ex-KGB who now runs a bar, a casino, and a caviar factory. He was a prominent character in GoldenEye, but he does meet his fate in the end, but he also plays his role to really great effect. The locations in this movie are truly top of the world, from the oil fields of Azerbaijan to the Frank Gehry Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain, to the Millennium Dome, which is also used quite prominently, to the banks of the Thames River where the exciting moment happens and as a hot air balloon explodes. We also have a Hindu temple where the flames never expire. So we got some great locations here. That is really, really fascinating. There are a myriad of deadly weapons to see, including a helicopter-borne rotary capable of brimming blades on an archaic but authentic ancient torture chair that Electric King uses on James Bond. But of course, he also once again is seen making narrow escapes. But the narrow escape of Bond is so slick, we wonder how he does it with such ease. Sure, made to suspend our disbelief, but could Bond manage to bungee jump from a skyscraper by tying one end to the shade cord to his belt and the other end to an unconscious individual's body? Well, we see that in the opening scenes, and it just works out just so splendidly. There's a lot of great action scenes that are really exciting, and I really was really enamored by a lot of the stuff that happened in this movie. There is a great combination of style and substance that is mixed together very well. I didn't think any of the casting was miscast, and not even Denise Richards. It's just a shame that she got such a lot of negative feedback. Under the competent direction from Michael Apted and the brilliant script by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Bruce Fierstein, they succeeded in keeping the set pieces organized in a more logical format as opposed to the traditional ways where everything is glued together in a neatly immaculate fashion. The set piece, I mean, it was just like really respectable. That the timing and the pacing was really good. For a 2-hour movie, it felt a lot shorter because there was just never a dull moment in this movie. Bond's clever quips seem to be more into what his character is like, and it doesn't feel random at all. Carlyle's villain has the more dimension to his character with a more accessible plot of evil as opposed to some convoluted motives of the other villains compared to the other Bond villains. I mean, he just wants to take over the oil empire from Robert King, and that, you know, and also because of the fact that because he's a Bond villain, he also has a shortcoming with him. He's got a bullet lodged to his head. He can't feel pain. He can't feel any kind of emotions. And while he might be almost conventionally locking down, he just seems to get stronger as things go along. And the only way, of course, to bring him down is to die. I mean, you can punch him and kick him and all that, but it's like, it's not the best it could do. That's kind of like what Renard's villain character is like. One of the most famous questions that has boggled my mind for many years finally fulfilled my curiosity regarding the villains in regard into how they come up with the right equipment needed for their diabolical schemes, knowing that their main headquarters are situated in remote areas secluded from the public spectrum. During a snow chase scene, a villain laments that the parasailers were rented and had to be returned at a certain deadline. So I guess that kind of fulfills why all these villains seem to have certain different types of weaponry and where they get it from. They're rented. Thank you very much for answering a long-awaited question that has been bothering me for a long time. That answer truly fulfills me. Overall, I would have to say this movie is definitely one of the best films in the Bond franchise. The best Bond outing for Pierce Brosnan. I truly highly recommend this movie. If I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would give The World Is Not Enough a 9 out of 10. I highly recommend you guys all to see this movie. I mean, it is ranked up there among one of the best Bond films. I truly had a fun time watching it. Pierce Brosnan was at his best. Sophie Marceau as Electric King is really electrifying. Also, the supporting characters also seem to do well. Desmond Llewellyn, we love you very much. Your contributions to the role as Q was purely justified. And I truly, truly highly recommend this movie very, very much. There's a lot of great stuff that comes with this movie that everybody will be really happy to see. If you're an action fan, even if you're not a James Bond fan, but you still love your action and your suspense, there's plenty of things there for you. Judi Dench steps up to her role as M quite perfectly. I really, really liked and dug her performance very well. She also gets to have more airtime as she's being put in peril situations too. Electric King, at first you feel sympathy for her over her father's death, but then we realized that her intentions of killing her father was planned, and it actually shows that maybe even though Renard was granted as the leading villain, it actually was Electric King that was actually the villain in this story, which is very rare that a Bond movie actually has the female being the lead antagonist. So that was a real treat. I don't know what else to say about this movie except I would highly recommend you guys all to see it. If I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would give The World Is Not Enough a 9. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember the 3 simple rules. Be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Writer saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.